Hello and welcome to my second episode of Paragliding Banter. Today, let's talk about stalls. Yeah, the moment we hear full stalls, our hearts skip a beat, isn't it? Actually, mine did every time. Every time I heard that sound, the word full stall, I would get into sort of a panic. In fact, I went into a state of fear when I thought of any small pitch that could cause a stall. And my fear was that feeling of falling from the sky. I used to think my glider would just collapse and I would just fall from the sky, and that's a feeling that I didn't like. But why did I get that feeling? It tremendously affected my flying. I started making excuses and landing early. As soon as I entered a thermal, my glider would pitch a little bit and I would just panic and I would want to land. I just didn't want to be in any rough patch of air. And I really didn't like flying then. I didn't enjoy it. I wasn't very happy about it. I knew that I liked to fly, but this nagging feeling of fear would always cause me to make excuses and land early. This was partly because I was part of an SIV course in Nepal very early in my flying career, and it was conducted by Avi Malik, who's the owner of Temple Pilots, a paragliding school from where I learned, and is also a very close friend. While that course was on, in the first 2 days, after first 2 days, I had to leave because my daughter was unwell back in India, Mumbai, and I had to return to attend to her. So obviously, family first, right? Well, while I left the course, my friends completed their course, and everyone spoke only about how they were amazed by the full stall maneuver and their experience was intense, and one of my friend had a bad recovery and he had to throw a reserve, and that really spooked me. And I was like, wow, everybody did this, but I am the only one who hasn't done it. In case this happens, they will be able to recover, but I won't be able to recover. And that caused a fear of full stall into my head. I tried to get over this fear, and it was probably a year afterwards where I had to, when I did another SIV course. And as soon as I did that, I managed to do a full stall and I recovered. And that was such a sigh of relief. That immediately made me go back and think all the things that I was thinking about it was actually untrue. It didn't give me a feeling of free falling from the sky. In fact, the rate of descent was 3 to 5 meters per second, which is pretty decent. I was able to control it, and I understood all the aspects of full stalling the glider and recovering it. Later, when I got my acro wing or the freestyle wing, I went to Uludeniz in Turkey, and just for 2 days, 3 flights a day, I only stalled my glider. I stalled it and recovered it. Stalled it, recovered, put it into backfly. I knew where my backfly was and I became more comfortable with it. Of course, as many stalls you do is never enough, but I did do many stalls and I was a little bit more comfortable. And my confidence came back because my understanding of it is now much better. And I'm able to do a stall whenever I need to do a stall. And that's the thing. When you do a full stall in an SIV course, you might do 1 or 2. But that's under guidance and that's under instructions, and there is a boat below you. But what happens in a situation where you need to do a stall while you're flying over the mountains? Would you be comfortable enough to get into a stall, recover your wing, and fly out? And that requires practice. And I would suggest that you practice this over water with enough height and hopefully with some kind of supervision. So today, let's talk about full stall, backfly, and the recovery process. It is one of the main maneuvers to know, to be able to be comfortable with. This is like your reset to your flying configuration in case you're in a cravat or a cascade situation. You should always be able to stall out of the situation. Of course, there is a quick recovery of stalls in case you need to do it close to the ground, but we'll cover that some other time. So what is a full stall? The a full stall is basically when your wing does not fly. And why does your wing not fly? When the airflow over the top of your wing is disrupted to a point where it no longer flies over your wing and creates a lift, is known as full stall. Basically, your wing is not flying. But due to the nature of our wing, which is fabric, and it is collapsible, the moment the wind does not flow over our wing, it collapses and starts falling down, and that's why it crumples into a ball. The same thing happens on planes, but you don't see that the wings collapsing. It's just that the plane starts falling down because it's no longer creating lift. The wings are no longer creating lift, and it's just falling straight down. So now that we know what a stall is, let's induce it and recover it. Okay, so to do this maneuver, I would like you to visualize as we go along this. Hopefully you have enough height and you're sitting center in your harness. Your wing is on top of you. Your brakes are in your hand. Now, the first thing that we need to do is make sure that our legs are tucked in under our reserve. And we don't want our legs to be flying around when we stall the wing. We don't want any twists and turns to happen due to the leg situation. So I suggest put your legs back in under your harness and hold them tight over there. Now slowly look at your wing. Keep looking at the wing and start applying brakes. Slow the glider down. As you increase your brakes slowly, symmetrically on both sides, you will see the trailing edge crumple and the wind noise suddenly begin to drop. This is because your wing is now slowing down and it's at a point where the wind noise will become absolutely zero, and you'll know that you are almost at one place, almost like hovering. Once you are at the brake level, which is probably below your waist level, you will feel a lot of pressure to take it further down. That's where you are going to push it down a little bit more, and the wing is going to full stall, which means it's going to collapse and fall into a collapsible ball kind of configuration. What basically is happening is you have now disrupted the airflow over the wing and is now collapsed. I would suggest while you're braking, use the side of your harness or where your hands are, and use your harness as a mechanism to create some friction and to hold the wing. Now that the wing is tall and it's falling behind you, it's going to create a lot of pressure on your hands to let it fly. And that's when you need to hold it down firmly, very hard. Lock your elbows and lock your hands under the harness, using the harness as a method or as a means to take support and create friction. As the wing goes behind you, you will start falling behind and going underneath it. Now the wing will be overhead of you and will rock in front, pitch in front because of the movement, a pendulum movement. You wait for it, don't release the brakes, hold on. As the wing comes and settles on top of your head, now is the time to very slowly release the brakes so that you re-inflate the glider. Now I mean really slowly, go symmetrically, and slowly the wing will be trying to pull your hand out of it, but use the harness as a means to create that friction and slowly release. You'll see the wing inflate very quickly to a point where the tips are now facing forward as if you are flying backwards. That's actually your back fly. If you reach that position, hold over there. That's your back fly. The wind in the canopy is created a profile where your wing is now actually flying backwards, and that's why the tips are facing in front. This is exactly the reverse of a big ear maneuver. You'll see the wings in front, and hold over there. Be comfortable with it. There will be a little bit of a movement from the wing, but just hold on and see where your back fly position is. Are your hands above the carabiner, at the carabiner, below the carabiner? Because your back fly will always be there. Once you notice where your hands are, where your back fly position is, slowly release the rest of it in a smooth motion. The wing will dive slightly. Check the dive quickly and release. Do not hold the dive. Check the dive, which means just check it and release, and you will fly underneath the wing and fly out. And that's the simple thing of a full stall and a backfly recovery. Next time you stall the wing, you will know where your backfly is, and you can go straight to it and hold over there and enjoy your time in backfly and then recover from it. Once you're able to do this on a regular basis, you'll be far more comfortable and knowing that you can reset your glider from any situation and fly out of it. The feeling of falling from the air is not very high. It's a matter of 3 meters to 5 meters per second. It's much lesser than a nose down spiral. So it's a very stable maneuver. And once you know this maneuver, these are the steps to follow, and you'll always be easily out of it and recover the wing. I thank you guys for listening to me. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer. If you leave any comments or if you need any more explanation, we'll be happy to do it. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in episode 3.